Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be doing something pretty exciting. I am going to be ICP testing my two aquarium. I can't even talk properly. I'm going to be testing my two aquariums for the first time. I am doing this in collaboration with Triton Labs. They have a facility up in Cairns, and I just so happen to be traveling to Cairns tomorrow morning to do some work up on the Great Barrier Reef. So I thought, why not? I might as well take some water tests, and then I'll take them up with me on the plane and hand them over to the guys there so that they can do some tests on my tanks. I'm a bit nervous. I've never ICP tested these tanks, but I've also haven't tested them for either like nutrients or alkalinity, calcium or anything in quite a long time. Obviously I've got my Alkatronic Pro on my upside down reef tank, so I know the alkalinity in that. But apart from that, that's the only thing I have tested. So, I mean, everything looks healthy in the tank, but I guess we will find out very soon what the water quality actually is like. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll take you through how to do an ICP test if you guys are interested in them. They're super easy to do. I just got them from my local fish shop, or you can even order them online if you need. But yeah, we'll take you through all the steps. Okay, so I've opened up the box that they came in. In the box, you get 2 vials, and then you also get 2 barcodes. So it's really important to keep these barcodes because this is what how you're going to be able to identify your tests when you put it into the Triton system. Because this will be interesting for me because whilst I use ICP MS at the university, it's a bit more sensitive to trace elements and stuff. It's not optimized for aquariums and particularly salt water. Triton Labs, on the other hand, they use ICP OS, which is generally not as sensitive as ICP MS. However, it is more suited to high salinity media such as like seawater or stuff that you'd have in your aquarium. So I'm quite interested to see what comes back. So in order to do this, it says on the label to rinse the tubes 3 times. So to do that, I like to dip down the top of the tube into the water, fill it up, and do that. So it has been rinsed 3 times. When you're taking water samples, you want to try and take it from mid-column. That's because as you can see, there's probably a lot of stuff on the top of your tank. You don't want to be capturing that when you do your water test because that'll show up in the elements and all these silicates and stuff like that. So generally you take your tube, you dip it down into the tank, and then you let it up like that, and then the water from mid-column will come and fill up the tube. And then you put the cap straight on. You try not to touch the water or anything because your skin has a lot of iron and stuff like that in it as well. So you don't want that to show up in your tank tests. So we'll do that twice. So this one will be my normal peninsula tank. So I'll do that. I've done it probably a bit more than 3 times, so that's all right. Bring it up and then cap on it. I think you need to do 2 of these because they probably use a lot of water for their nutrient analysis and macro analysis and stuff like that. So that's probably why they get you to do 2 tubes. Normally after you've done that, you put them back in this little pouch and you'd send it back off to them. But I'm going to take it on the plane with me. So then I'll put these 2 labels on. I'll label it so I know which tank it's come from as well. And yeah, we'll do that, but I'll go do the other tank now. Okay, so now it's time to take a water test of my upside down tank. This will be really interesting because it's the first time I've ever done sort of any in-depth analysis of the water quality in this tank. It'd be particularly interesting because I've switched to all Aquaforest as well now. So I'm using Aquaforest supplements, Aquaforest salt. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll do a similar thing to what I did before. So I'm going to rinse the tubes 3 times. My fish think they're being fed. For chromis, they're pretty social. So I've done that 3 times and I cap it straight away. Make sure it's not going to leak. So you don't want that going all through your bag on your plane. I'll rinse it again. Sorry guys, I'll feed you in a sec. It's past their feeding time, so that's why they're a bit antsy with me. There we go. and then I'll put these labels on it, and then we'll take them up to Cairns. See you there. Hey guys, I'm in Cairns now. I'm here with Ashan from Triton, and I've got my ICP test to give to him.
Thank you.
But I've also noticed that it's been a while since I've been here, and a lot of your corals have grown out. Do you maybe just give us a quick rundown on your tank and how it's going?
Easy. Yeah, they're growing pretty quick. They're good. You're here 2 months ago, wasn't it? Like
2 months. Yeah.
2 months ago. So yeah, we obviously added some fish, some more fish, and we have already fish breeding in this tank. So the little cardinals is one of them with a lot of eggs in the mouth.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, we have some clams from Monsoon, some more corals from Cairns Marine, some corals from Monsoon too in here. So they're all grown. Now we can see that they kind of grown onto the rock. Like they're grabbing onto the rock, which is really good.
See, just here they're growing really well.
Yeah, and if you follow me on my videos where I have we obviously have our own. Everybody has that.
Yeah, I watched your video on how you connected them to the rocks. That was really cool.
So you don't see any of that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't see that little drill bit and stuff that I put in there, like the little carbon stick, and you can see they're all grown onto the.
Yeah.
So one of them actually is even growing around that carbon rod.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you can't really see that anymore because that's green one. So that's plate one.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't drill it, so I just put a carbon stick inside. And you can see that little knob if you're really good. That little knob.
Oh yeah, just at the top.
That knob is underneath. That is the carbon rod, right?
That's awesome.
So yeah, so it's pretty good because then it looks really natural, right?
Yeah.
And these corals right now, they're all kind of starting to get their shape. They're showing their kind of adaptation to the new environment because a lot of them will actually be different.
Yeah.
I'll change a little bit the form so you can see that with that coral over there, for example, like the one that is a bit lower.
Oh yeah. The on this side.
Yeah,
that's such a big tank. You gotta walk around.
Yeah. That's good.
Look at that view. That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's one of Linda's favorite, my wife's favorite corals. And it grows totally different, like
really?
so we put it in the wild form, had like longer coralline.
Yeah.
And now it starts to get more dense, because it gets maybe more light, more flow. So you can see the difference.
The difference in growth patterns. Yeah. So on the right, it has sort of one growth form, and then on the left, where it's obviously new.
That Aquapara is having by far the biggest polyp extension I've ever seen.
It's pretty long, isn't it? I'll try and get some close-ups of that later.
It needs to be something genetic. That's a genetic thing. Now the fish is exactly there, but you can see.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's really that's the genetic thing. It's done that from the start. So you have corals in here where you can see that polyp extension is really not that much. They don't do it, but it's because you still see the polyp, but it's just genetically a smaller polyp, while this one's just out there totally long. And you can see that differences between them. They're all coloring up too, so normally they get like a growth color.
Yeah.
And that's what all of them nearly done. Some of them are turning their polyp color too, so they get their polyp color. Normally when you have them collected, then they kind of lose a little bit, and then now they're coming back. This tank is very much the edge of the reef, so it's really the water parameters that we adapted to is far reefs from the edge.
Yeah.
So like the ribbons
outer
and
reef.
stuff. Yeah.
Because I remember you saying that's what your water quality is. Your water quality, you're trying to mimic the outer reef, and you reached.
Yeah.
I think last time I was here, you said that you reached outer barrier water quality as well.
Yeah. So it's the hardest habitat to simulate because everything is very low, but it's not zero.
Yeah.
So you really need to keep that balance. Obviously, that's after 34 years of reef keeping or whatever, this is what my goal, right? I'm a totally messed up person. That's all right. Not everybody's goal, but my goal. So, and if it would be me, I would have a lot of brown and white corals in here, which nobody likes. But
are you able to tell us a little bit what the water quality parameters of the outer reef are?
Yes.
Or,
Sure.
Like what sort of parameters are you targeting? Like.
So right now we are on not detectable nitrates for a test home kit, right? And we even with adding nitrate we can't get it detectable. Awesome. At that point you test your own test kit because you actually put nitrate into it to see if that's really working, right? But it's really low. Phosphates are really low too, so we sometimes on the edge like 5 to 6 phosphorus. That means 0.018.
Oh wow! So
on phosphate, but it also contributes to all the low amounts of pests and stuff, like, you know, not too much of algae growing in there.
You've
not
got
too
like,
much,
pretty much no algae. You've only got some algae in the corners, but as we were talking about before, you reckon that's because of the really high light you've got in this tank? Because look at the lights you got up there.
That lights are very special to me, because they're also, you know, the lights that I had before, I developed my own lights 18 years ago. This is my daughter's 18th birthday this year. So 18 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when she was born, we called the light Lani, because that's her name, and Lani means sky, like Hawaiian or something. So I said, like, that's a good matching kind of name for a light. And all of my other kids are so jealous, but now we sold that light, right? But my light was like a spreading light, so it was a very flat light, and then it spread out very much. While this light is more of the focal light, so it actually focuses the LEDs down more. And that makes it really bright on the bottom part too, which is really cool, because our corals actually down there still have that massive color. What
sort of power are you getting?
On the ground, if you run them on full on the ground, you still get like a 650.
Okay, so
you know, it's quite a lot of light.
A lot of people aim for lower than that in the top of their tanks. So
yes, but again, it's an outer barrier reef. You know, so out there, if you go out there, I mean, you can come with me once. You get cooked. That's what Julian says. It's hot. And we have a white floor on the bottom of our boat, and you can't step on it. It's hot, right?
Because you get thousands of power out there. Don't you? Like,
I think we measured it once. We go again, we measure it again, and I'll show you in our videos too. And we do it live too. We actually do live sessions.
You do lives,
and I'll measure live the power on, like, really touching the water. And you'll see, like, that's over 2,000. That's insane. That's really hard. But again, like, then these corals are not right under the surface, right? So down there, you'll possibly still have 1,000, 700, 600. A very special coral to me, I'll show you. Ellie is here. That echinata here.
Oh, the echinata. I had my eyes on that before. It's absolutely stunning, isn't it?
You like, Americans, I learned, call that an ice fire echinata.
Ice fire, I can see why. It's got those purple tips on it.
Very, very difficult coral to keep.
Oh, really?
A lot of people really struggle with that coral. But normally it's because it's coming from a lower kind of, you know, like a lower habitat. It's not that much light. But look at that, this is getting like 400, 500 power right now.
That's insane.
And it's totally happy and grown. So it's something you need to kind of feel, get used to it. I mean, I'm doing it for a very long time, but you can do that. You just need to start. Don't be in fear, then it works. And then, what I really like is all the corals growing onto the rock. They will start growing the rocks together. So they will stick them together, so you can't even move them away anymore.
And it makes it a pain in the ass when you got to move it, doesn't it?
It's the way it is, you know. They will go. I'll try to grow them big, you know. Some of them are small, like and you know, like slow growers. Some of them grow really fast. That Linda's one, for example, very fast. And I don't think we'll add like that many corals. There's 2 or 3 more corals that I really want to have, and they are also very specifically outer barrier, like very iconic for me. A lot of people don't know them anymore, but for me, very iconic ones. And then there's still a clam coming, I think.
Oh, nice.
From monsoon, we're waiting for that.
Is that the ICP machine I can see in the back there?
Yes, go on. You're here for that. No, it's all right. Go on, let's go. So
is this where the magic happens?
Right behind the tank, and it's very hard. I'll tell you.
How do you get any work done?
It is. Yes, it's so hard to work right now. It's just
you've really got no excuse for not testing your tank, do you?
Whenever I'm coming here, Julian and Sean are just around this tank, and nobody's really working. And then you know, and when somebody comes in, and you're like, you
can see them.
They're always like that. So I'll run you through this. So your test normally will be piled up around here, right?
Okay.
And I won't do it now because we're not running the machine and we are without any security measures, but it's fine. So they'll be piled up here with all the other tests. They'll actually make a big pile.
So how many do you normally get?
So normally we have like 30-ish a day. 30-ish a day. It depends because we work with, you know, Cairns Marine, Monsoon, Cairns Aquariums. So they have sometimes a lot of tests come in all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So it's very variable here. In Australia, we do a lot of scientific stuff.
Yeah.
Also, when we come back from the boat, then we have loads, and normally I try to run that on a weekend sometimes, so we can, but not. It's just not always the same.
Yeah.
And then again, when there's like big universities, they're sending like maybe 10 tests at once.
Yeah.
Then you have that day you have a lot of tests. But it doesn't really matter, because you normally standard is you pile them up here, then you start scanning them in the computer, right, with that scanners we have.
Oh yeah, so all these labels, barcodes that we put on them, that's how we identify them later on. You scan them.
Exactly, we'll definitely scan them, because that's the perfect, because you have too many tests.
Yeah.
We run, America is running 700, 800, 900 tests like a week or something, so it's quite a bit. And that's a month, sorry. And that's you know, you don't want to get anything wrong, right? That's why we have the barcode system. It's much better that way. We do, like I said, we're doing it for 18 years now, so it's just a better way. So you scan the barcodes, and then you get them like grouped up. Sometimes there's like things we do with the barcodes to check if there's a uni or whatever. You know, we group them up in the beginning and the end. If they have like food in there or something, they want to test specific things. They're at the end. Otherwise, but that's like freak stuff. So you scan them, then you roll them up, and we have the fluoride measurement system. That's this one, right? So it measures the fluoride. It's not turned on. It's having a scanner too, like you see. And so all the fluoride will be tested on there, because no ICP can measure fluoride. And then what happens is, out of that row, we'll scan them in the system and then put them inside here. And that's the last run we did, for example, right? A little run. And you can see that they're all rolled up here. And that's actually, this ones have the barcodes on them. We have a split system which we don't talk about right now, but we will maybe show you later on. So that's the barcodes in here, you can see that, and every fourth test is actually a test that is one of us. So there's no barcode on there. Right?
So you know what it is, so like calibration standard.
Exactly, we call it the control standard. So it is one of the calibration standards, not always different ones. And it also can be natural seawater. So we just check against several things, because if
check against a known value. So
yes, exactly. And if something comes up, that's maybe the most cases, because that's so sensitive, the system. Sometimes it just reads 3 lead all the time, but it reads it all the time, and then it also reads in that sample that you know there is no lead in. So then you say, all right, so that's a 0. So you're done. You know, it's just a little sensitivity. Based on the background, but I can explain that, but it's way too deep, right?
So that's freak stuff.
Exactly, it's freak stuff. Like we can keep that as freak stuff. So you have the machine, like this is the little robot, the auto sampler. So that needle, I could move it, but you will see it on other videos that we have. It moves into the sample, then goes back, then it gets cleaned. It gets cleaned from the outside and the inside. So it's really like check, you know what I mean?
It's like a HCl clean, or?
No, it's actually pretty simple. So it goes in there, it's like a shower. So water runs over it, and it sucks that same water in. So then in that time, it just cleans itself.
Awesome.
Very simple system, but for trace elements analysis, very important. When you go ultra trace, there is a little big box, like a pretty big box around it, and there's a filter to actually filter the energy. So you always look at no contamination, because of the sensitivity.
Because there's iron everywhere, like in the air you get iron, zinc and everything, which could be contaminating. Like it's,
you have in the lab, if we open up a vanadium bottle, for example, like, then you will find it in the test. Because it's just the way it is, you know. So
I'm not sure what you guys measure down to, but you can get machines that measure all down to like trillion parts per, which is bugger all. It's like, we at the university, we measure down to parts per billion, which is like taking one person out of the entire population and trying to find that person, which is ridiculous.
The nature of trace analytics, and there is a border. There's always a border where it just doesn't make sense anymore. Especially, I mean, for us or for some people that, like you just traveled with this, you know, and just grab it out of your. So I don't know if then the box around this would really help more, but that's the way you think of it, and it works very well, you know, for the people at home. So this thing actually sucks the sample in, and it runs through either the syringe pump or that little peri pump that people know from at home. It's just a more professional version of a dosing pump, you would say. a much more professional version.
Much.
And a much more expensive
Yes,
one.
I can imagine.
So, and then if you look at it, so this is the machine and it's not on.
Wow.
Yeah, so then it runs, your sample runs in here, into this area here.
Yep.
This is where the samples go.
Is that the ionization?
Yes, it's more, it's just a spray chamber, we call it. Like you create a fine mist out of your water. So you don't want that water to go in there.
Yeah.
You just want a mist. And that mist goes up and the rest of it will be sucked out here, right? And that mist is enough, that little fine, you know, pieces of water that combined with air is going in here, and then here actually is the plasma. So that's the coil that holds the plasma. Plasma is no flame, it's literally just plasma. And it's very, very hot, so it's 10,000 degrees around.
Okay.
It's not on, obviously.
Yeah, no.
And that plasma then ionizes the sample. That's then where it atomizes the sample, you say. And nothing really holds at that temperature any binding, so they will be destroyed. And then what happens is the atoms still, obviously you can't destroy atom that easily, but it gets so hot that it loads itself with one energy unit. Well, you call that getting excited in a scientific term. And then when it moves towards the colder area of the plasma, which is the tip of the plasma, it releases that energy again. And when it does that, because you want to go back to what it was before, right? When, for example, strontium does that, then it will shine. It will for a little second, you know, illuminate, like get a color, okay? And that color is specific to every atom. So when you go sodium, it's orange mostly. You know, strontium would be mostly like bluish purple, or calcium, and potassium I think is greenish. So you see that actually, that turns in color, but based on what is really mostly going in there. So because in your water samples mostly sodium, it's orange. It turns the color from yellow to orange, you see that? And that color then, or that light, is then traveling, and it's only the light, not the element itself, traveling and get measured in that area, which is realistically a big, massive camera that takes pictures, right? So it takes pictures all the time. It will split up all this wavelength, so all the colors in specific segments. There's so many cameras in there, and that's taking that color. So as more like orange I'll find, literally as more sodium is in your sample. And that's the way it works for all the other elements too. And there's little things like overlaps sometimes, like phosphate and iodine, they're very close. So you need to be careful with the things and then divide them out from each other and stuff. But obviously we know that after that years.
Do you have an example? Because I know like with the one at university you get these little peaks, and the peaks are at different wavelengths, and then that's how you're able to identify what element it is, basically.
Exactly. So you have a list of things. So you just show you one of the controls. Say this one, and then you see now you just see lines, right? Because that's the full spectrum of things. But if you want, you can go, for example, just on bromium, and then you see the peak of bromium. You see right there's bromium in that water, right? Or chloride, which is also measurable with the thing, but let's say you take one that is really high, so sodium would be the one that we look at, and it's cut off, right? So, but there is lines, this is like a specific, the one line that is the orange line, which is just oversaturated, but there's other lines on them. So that's the good thing on an OES, is you have so many variable, like you can choose out of so many lines, because they literally do not glow in one color. They glow in a lot of colors. Some of them are weaker than the others. So for some elements like that, you use the weaker ones, while for elements like phosphorus, where you want the most out of it and it's very little, you take the strongest one, and that's how an OES works. You know? So it's kind of it's a bit scientific, but it's actually not too hard to understand. It's very straightforward when you understand one time how it works.
And for someone who hasn't used Triton before, like what can you measure in the water?
We can
and
literally...
how can that help your aquarium, basically?
It's coming. So literally we can see everything in that water. You know, really everything, even oxygen, even whatever. It's always taking the picture of all of it. That's the nice thing. So we could even go back at one point and tell you what it was, you know?
Yeah, because if you do it regularly, you sort of have like kind of a historic snapshot of what your reef tank has been like. So if it's changed over time, if you've changed anything about your dosing, that would show up.
We have your data all the time. So if a scientist sometimes come and say, oh, yeah, but you know, actually we realized we're next to that manganese place, you know?
Yeah.
We're talking about a special scientist. So, and then we can look, and even if we do not measure or do not give you the manganese reading, which we do, but if we wouldn't, we still can go back to your test and see how much manganese was in it. That's a very good thing. And it's literally measuring the whole periodic system. So this is everything.
Also everything there you measure.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
So you can, you know, but we give you not everything here.
Yeah.
Right? So
Not
we give you
important.
the ones that we calibrated.
Yep.
But, you know, if you go back, you can still see stuff like, you know, with our lanthanum we found quite a bit. You know, in the past we weren't measuring lanthanum until these people started to actually add lanthanum, and then we started to see it, and then we said, all right, so we can actually see there's always these peaks. Yeah. So let's calibrate it, and then you actually have the lanthanum reading now. You know? So that's the way it kind of works for us in there. And you literally measure. Right now we give you 42 elements, I think, or 42 parameters. I think one is salinity. Yep. Yeah, it's quite a bit, and it's giving you a really good insight into what's happening.
Do you measure like nitrates, phosphates, all that?
No, we
or
measure
nitrogen?
phosphorus, which is then transferred into phosphate, because most of the phosphorus is phosphate anyway, like nearly everything. Yeah. But nitrate you can't. Okay. So because, like I said before, there is air mixed,
which has nitrogen.
Which has nitrogen. Yeah. So you can't do that. You can't do C2, like, you know. But we have an NDOC system. That NDOC system, that system is a TOC system that runs in Germany, and we measure nitrogen there because that's made for it. Nitrogen, carbon, organic carbon, and inorganic carbon. So it's not here. We don't use it here because Australia is not big enough for a machine like that. But we do it.
If people really wanted to, could they send you samples to do?
Yes, yeah. It's called the NDOC test. We ship it on once a week around. So we ship it on. But it's a very in-depth kind of thing. So what we created before was ICP. That changed the whole world of reef keeping. Then we went further. So if I'm not testing NDOC, this aquarium NDOC like every week, I'm not doing that. You know, I don't need to. Is there specific problems where this machine can't help you? Then you would go the next step and you say, all right, you know, I will search for any kind of problem in an organic way, you know. But you know, nitrate measurements at home are possible. You know, it's not really hard to do. Organic carbon is a very special problem, you know. So yeah, freak stuff. However, but if you want to do it, you can always contact us with it. That's the way it works.
Good. Well, thank you very much for showing me your beautiful lab and giving us a rundown of where our samples go. I'm keen to get my samples back. How long will they take to come through?
So normally we have an upload. I do the uploads, right? So I look over all the results afterwards, also for the Americans and for the UK.
Oh wow, so you got a few to do.
Yeah, but it's not that hard for me. It's like looking through the matrix a bit. You know, like for me it's easier. But yeah, in Australia, because I am in Australia, it's okay time-wise. While in America, people are sleeping when I'm doing it. Sure. You know, so. But over here, normally we get it, we scan it, and then you can expect it to be there next day or the day after. Okay. The only problem we have in Australia is shipment. So if you ship it, it's taking longer. If you express ship it, then we get it faster. But we make sure that the least time we use is in the lab. So we scan it, run it through, and normally the next day when this thing is running through the night, for example, when I wake up, I'm sitting on them, I'll get them done and get them over. But yeah, up to 48 hours we normally see.
That's awesome. Well, I bypassed the shipping stage because I brought them on the plane with me, so theoretically they should be done tomorrow.
Yeah,
no
right now. When you're out of here, just like, you know, I just put my finger in there.
You should be at that point now.
This is good enough. Good enough for Sydney Reef. Yeah, all right.
Well, thank you very much for showing us around your lab and showing us an update on your beautiful tank as well. Yep. I'll be back in a few months again, so I'm keen to catch up with you then. And
we stop talking and just enjoy this now.
Now I'm going to have my beer and sit here and watch this. So no, thank you.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.